Anecdote of the Jar by Wallace Stevens, 1879 to 1955. I placed a jar in Tennessee, and round it was upon a hill. It made the slovenly wilderness surround that hill. The wilderness rose up to it and sprawled around, no longer wild. The jar was round upon the ground, and tall, and of a port in air. It took dominion everywhere. The jar was grey and bare. It did not give of bird or bush, like nothing else in Tennessee. Okay, this is a poem by Wallace Stevens. Let's see, Wallace Stevens was an American from Pennsylvania. He went to Harvard University. He's a modernist poet. And clearly that can be seen in this. So what's this poem about? Well, this poem it's titled The Anecdote of the Jar, and as always with Stevens' work, it's a little bit cryptic. Let's see. I placed a jar in Tennessee, and round it was upon a hill. So I put a round jar on the top of a hill in Tennessee. It made the slovenly wilderness surround that hill. And this caused the wilderness to be messy and to grow all around the hill. The wilderness rose up to it, so the wilderness grew towards that jar and sprawled around, no longer wild. And now the wilderness that was near the jar was tame, it was domesticated. The jar was round upon the ground, and tall, and of a port in air. And the round jar on the ground at the top of the hill was tall, and it was empty. It took dominion everywhere, so the jar became the ruler of everything. The jar was grey and bare, it was grey and empty. And the jar, it did not give of bird or bush, so it wasn't part of nature like the plants and the animals nearby. So it was completely different from everything else in the state of Tennessee. And that still does not leave it clear. I think this is talking about the relationship between humanity and the natural world. I think this is humanity's desire to put order onto nature, and I think that this jar is representing nature, is representing humanity's desire, and he puts this round jar on the top of a hill in Tennessee, and clearly it's out of place. This rigid thing, this rigid jar, makes the nature around it look slovenly, and it seems out of place. But then the wilderness came around it, and maybe the jar is now taming the wilderness. And I think this is man taming nature and deciding that the wilderness should look like this. It should be organized, and it should no longer be spontaneous. The jar was round upon the ground, and tall, and of port in air. So the jar is the image of, to me it gives the image of factories and mass production, and this is the convenience of the modern world. This jar represents civilization. It's like a message from the human world. But nature is always slovenly, it's lazy and it's messy in comparison, to this jar. and then the jar takes dominion everywhere. It takes control over the whole world, and the whole world is grey and bare, and it doesn't give any of this beauty of nature. It completely tames and destroys the wilderness, and now there are no birds or bushes. And this is not like the natural Tennessee. This is the way that man has tamed the natural world, or believes he's tamed the natural world, and there is no room in the world now for this for nature. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. Anecdote of the Jar by Wallace Stevens.